Hi there, I'm Trish from TrishNewbery.com and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be sewing the produce bag. Now this cute little produce bag has a contrast panel at the top and the bottom, and the middle of the panel is best made in something like a mesh, so you can use an athletic mesh or any of your preferable mesh. You could even use a lightweight lace if you prefer. So let's get straight into it. The dimensions of these pieces are in the comments below, but if you want you can go to my website and download this pattern and you'll have a printable copy for you to be able to save forever, which saves having to measure out these pieces every time. So let's get started with the top. The top piece is the smaller of the rectangles. So come to either end and go to your iron and press a hem in there at 1 inch, and then go to the edge and press this over again at 1/4 inch. So we're going to be pressing at 2.5 centimeters and then pressing in again here at 5 mil. So we want the finished width here to be 2 centimeters, which is 3/4 inch. So make sure you do that on both of these two ends, and we're pressing that to the wrong side. So when you have that in place, go to your machine and stitch that into place. So we're going to be sewing just in from the edge. So that top stitch is, it's only pin width, which is maybe 1 to 2 millimeters, so it's very small. We just want it in from the edge. Take this piece and go to your iron and press up a hem on one side of 1 centimeter, which is 3/8 of an inch. When you have one side of this pressed into place, we're now going to sew the other side to the mesh. So if you're following my pattern, you will have notches in the center here. If you don't, make sure you just mark that so you know where the center is, and then take your mesh piece and do exactly the same thing. Make sure you mark the centers. So when you're ready, place those pieces right sides together. So my mesh is right side up. Now when we match this into place, we want the mesh to overhang, and the mesh should overhang by 1 centimeter, 3/8 of an inch. It doesn't matter if it's more, because mesh is stretchy and it might stretch out of place, but we need it to overhang at least by 1 centimeter. So when you're ready, we're going to sew that into place using a 1 centimeter, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Remember to back tack the beginning and end of your seam. Now if you want to, you can go to your iron and turn this over and press this so that all the bulk is facing up into the top part, but if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. So what we're going to do now is fold this back on itself until it matches. So make sure that those points match and hold them in place with a pin. Now you need to decide which side you want to sew it from. I like sewing from the front So what I'm going to do now is just rearrange my pins to make it easier on myself. You can sew it from the back if you prefer. I always find it easier to readjust my pins rather than try and pin it from the front. Whatever works for you is good. Right, so now I'm going to sew all of those layers together to keep our produce bag nice and tidy, and I'm just going to sew it in from the edge just like we did before. It's only pin width 1 or 2 millimeters in from the edge, and I'm going to make sure I back tack. So what we're doing is sandwiching that mesh up into the drawstring part. So it's a good idea now to give that an iron before we continue. Okay, so making sure we have right side up, turn that around. Make sure you still know where the middle is. And now we're going to sew the bottom piece on. And the bottom piece should fit exactly flush this side and this side. There's no overhang on this piece. And sew that seam at 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch. Right, so we want to reinforce this area, and just remember mesh doesn't fray, so we don't have to worry about that at all. But what we're going to do now is top stitch this down to keep it all nice and tidy. So if you want to, go to your iron and press this down so that all the messy stuff is facing towards the hemline. And if you don't want to, you can just go ahead and top stitch that down. You could overlock or zigzag that edge if you want it to be extra tidy. And I'm now going to stitch this down. You can choose to stitch it at the same width you did at the top, or you could do it slightly deeper if you want. I'm going to do it slightly deeper. I'm stitching at 5mm, which is just under 1/4 of an inch. And as I stitch, I'm just going to make sure that all that mesh is hidden in this bottom part, or towards that bottom part. Okay, so go to your iron and give that a press. Now all that's left is to sew this together, so come to the sides and fold them up so we have right sides together. We're going to sew from here, down here and across to here at 1 centimetre, which is 3/8 of an inch. Now if your bag has expanded here, make sure you start at the edge here, just to the side of our drawstring hole, so then you can angle it back to 1 centimetre at the bottom. But whatever looks right for you is fine. Just place those right sides together, make sure the beginnings match, and we just want to start off by stitching just to the side of the opening. Remember to back tack. And then we're going to go down to the hemline. Make sure when you get to this point here where the bottom pieces join together, that's sitting exactly on top of each other, just to make it look really pretty. And then sew on down to the hemline. Now you can either sew to the hem and back tack and then start again. I just like to go to the corner and stop with the needle down in my work, lift, turn and pivot. But whatever way works with you is fine. Then I'm just going to readjust my work and sew again. Making sure I back tack at the beginning. Right, so now all that remains is to turn this bag through. And you might like to go to your iron and give that another press just to keep it all nice and crisp. Now I haven't overlocked the inside seams there, but you certainly could if you want to tidy it up and make it absolutely perfect. So the next thing we need to do is take a length of draw cord or ribbon. So I'm using grosgrain, and this has been cut to 66 centimeters, which is 26 inches. And then you need to take a safety pin and thread this through here. You can of course make that any length to suit. So once you have that through, what we're going to do is tie those two ends together to secure them. Like so. There we are, all finished. It's got a nice little length on it, not too long, but of course you can adjust that length to suit. This is a cute little hostess gift, and it's also a really cute little produce bag just to have in your own shopping basket. So thanks for downloading my pattern. Thanks for joining me today. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to, go ahead and join my Facebook pattern discussion group, when you'll get notifications of all the latest released sewing patterns. And you'll also be first in the know when I have sales. So I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.